The rain had thinned to a mist by the time Marta banked the fire and wiped the last bowls dry. The Old Stone Tavern had grown softer around the edges. Only a few voices, the clink of a cup, the flute tracing a slow line above the murmur. Arlen sat near the wall, warm for the first time in days. The hearth's glow turned the stone walls golden. Outside the windows, the market square was nothing but wet cobbles and drifting fog. Marta passed his table and gave him a measuring look. "You're falling asleep sitting up," she said. "Come, before you drop into your stool, let me show you a bed." "If you have one to spare," Arlen replied, rubbing his eyes. "For a quiet traveler with honest coin?" She snorted softly. "Always." She lit a small iron lamp and led him up the narrow stair at the back. With every step, the sounds of the common room faded until there was only the creak of boards and the sigh of wind under the roof. At the end of the crooked corridor, she opened a door. "Here. Not grand, but it keeps the weather out." The room was simple. A bed, a chair, a chest, a tiny window over the square. A folded wool blanket waited at the foot of the mattress. On the wall opposite the window hung a single painting on rough board. Arlen stepped closer while Marta set the lamp on the chest. The painting showed Eldhaven from above, the little market square, the tight ring of houses, the road running in from the valley. Far in the background, half lost in thin paint, a dark shape rose from the mist. Tower, hall, or chapel, it was hard to say.
"It makes the village look peaceful,"
Arlen said.
"It can be,"
Marta answered.
"on the right nights."
She pointed.
"Water is at the end of the hall, privy before your door. If you need anything else, try to need it in the morning. Eldhaven keeps its own company after dark."
Her tone was light, but something in it made Arlen glance again at the painting.
"Sleep well," she added. "Let the road worry about you tomorrow."
Then she was gone, her steps fading down the stairs. Arlen bolted the door, unrolled his cloak, and set his pack neatly by the wall. The lamp's small circle of light made the painted village seem almost alive, as if dozens of unseen hearths glowed inside the tiny houses. He lay down, pulled the blanket over his shoulders, and pinched out the flame. Darkness folded around him, warm and close. For a while he listens to the tavern settling. A chair dragged, a shutter closed, a last voice laughing. Then even that faded, and sleep took him quickly. He woke with his heart beating too fast, and no idea why. The room was completely dark, the kind of heavy darkness that belongs only to the deepest part of night. The blanket scratched against his throat. The air had turned colder. Something had pulled him from sleep. He held his breath. Wind brushed the eaves. A board creaked somewhere along the corridor. Embers sighed in the hearth below. And behind it all, faint and far, came voices. Not speech, a tangle of tones, several voices moving together in long-held notes. The sound rose and fell like a slow tide, always on the edge of being a melody, never quite settling into one. Arlen swung his legs out of bed and crossed to the window. The floor was icy under his bare feet. He eased the shutter open a hand's width. The market square lay quiet below, washed in thin moonlight. Stalls hunched under their canvas. The well stood like a black tooth in the center. No lanterns, no moving figures. The tavern beneath him showed no glow from its windows. Yet the voices were clearer now. Somewhere beyond the houses, somewhere higher. On the slope, in the trees. In the dark shape the painter had brushed at the edge of the village. The notes slid between minor and something older, neither cheerful nor mournful, just ancient. From time to time they thinned into a single, impossibly long tone, then split again into several lines, crossing and weaving. A floorboard groaned in the corridor. Arlen froze. Whoever was awake out there stayed behind their own door, just as he did. No one called. No one moved. He should have been afraid. Instead, he felt an odd, prickling calm, as if the song were not meant to frighten but to mark that someone new was listening. After a while, the melody began to fade. The last notes stretched thin, like smoke blown apart by wind, and were gone. Arlen closed the shutter and stood in the darkness, listening to a silence that seemed deeper than before. The painting on the wall was only a darker rectangle now, but he could imagine the distant hall or chapel on its hill, roof black against the sky. Perhaps, he thought, the person who painted it had heard these same voices and tried to leave a warning or a welcome. He lay back down and pulled the blanket tight. Sleep came slowly this time, filled with dim corridors, dripping stone, and candles burning without flame.